4 events remain in the race event series, and now we will move on to another championship, and where I've decided, after thinking long and hard enough about this, the bike I will use, once I can find it, I know it's in here somewhere because I saw it once before. I'm going to use the Honda NS 400R because I figured, why not? Also because I have not ridden a Honda for a championship event recently, so I figured this would be a good time to do so. And then, I think once I'm done with this and the next event, that's probably when I'll change my riding gear over again. So we've got the 2-stroke Legend Series as our next one, and then we've got the Nostalgic Festival afterwards, and then we've got these two to finish. So let's get through the 2-stroke Legend Series, where we need one of these 3 bikes in order to enter. We can choose between the Honda NS 400R, the Yamaha RZV 500, and the Suzuki RG 500 Gamma. And it's 5 laps around each of these tracks, as we're going to Laguna Seca, Trial Mountain, and Special Stage Route 5 for the finale. So, without further ado, let's go. And hopefully this will not take too long for me to finish. Alright, so we've got 1 Yamaha, 1 Suzuki, and 1 Honda as our competition. I'm really not surprised. Alright, so let's begin at Laguna Seca. And see how long it is before we blow the doors off these fools. Anyway, this bike definitely gives me flashbacks to the challenge mode, which was technically how I won this thing. And I went too deep into, I think it was turn 4. Gap is 8.3 seconds to the leader. I should be able to close that gap with relative ease as we now head up the hill into Corkscrew and making sure I don't fall off on the sudden drop of the Corkscrew. And now heading through into the final left-hander, and the gap is now 5 seconds to the leader, so I am gaining time. I am slowly but surely closing in on the leader. And now passing the Suzuki for second position. Gap is now 4.4 seconds to the leader, so I am steadily closing in. I am, of course, taking my time with this bike to get accustomed to riding this thing again. because I have been riding some pretty fast bikes recently. On the brakes, heading through Corkscrew once again for the second time. Doing a little bit of short shifting there to try and see if I can get through the corner at a stronger angle. It is the Yamaha that leads us. Of course, I chose not to use the Yamaha since I already used it once, and passing the Yamaha now for the lead. I just pass him as we go across the start-finish line. He passes me from the outside. I will of course give him kudos for that. And altogether, I'd say we're doing pretty good. Also, do correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure it was Kenny Roberts who won the MotoGP Championship one year riding a Honda. At least I think it was a Honda. I know Kenny Roberts definitely won the championship one year, but I couldn't tell you if he was riding a Honda or not. Of course, whenever a lot of people usually do think of Honda in the MotoGP, they normally expect practically a heritage of success to follow the Honda name because of how successful it's been for decades in motorcycle racing. Even though it's not exactly the best manufacturer in the MotoGP right now, a lot of people typically do know Honda for its many years of domination in the MotoGP. I'm also pretty sure John Surtees once rode a Honda as well, because before he became an F1 champion, he was technically a MotoGP champion as well. Literally the only driver / motorcycle rider on Earth to win both the Motorcycle World Championship, or whatever it was called back then, and also the Formula 1 World Championship. And what's even more amazing to consider is, John Surtees practically did both of those things at the same time. He's probably the only racing driver / motorcycle rider who has managed to become a world champion on both 2 wheels and 4 wheels. There is hardly anyone else I can think of who's even thought about accomplishing that feat. I don't even think Valentino Rossi would have thought about doing that. Still, I can definitely say I made a distinctive choice when I went with the Honda. I figured it made sense. But either way, I am continually moving onwards. And almost overshooting Corkscrew there, but able to keep myself in check. And we are doing okay. So 7.4 seconds is now the gap to the Yamaha, and it's an easy race 1 victory. And the gap in the end is 8.25 seconds. And the Suzuki RG500 just finished as well. So the Honda NS400R finishes first and last, which is ironic but not surprising to consider. Anyway, there we go. 1 race down, 2 races to go. As we now head on to Trial Mountain. A track which I know is going to have a few bumps in between, but I will be fine. I have, of course, driven pretty much thousands of laps around Trial Mountain to know my way around here. I pretty much know both the forward and reverse course like the back of my hand. Both variants of the course, regardless of which direction you put me in, they're both very much second nature to me. And I think I will most likely get back to GT4 as soon as I am probably finished with this game. Or just before I get finished with this game. Because I want to try and make my schedule more interesting. But anyway, 2.5 seconds is the gap to the leading Yamaha. I'm pretty sure catching him is not going to be too much of an issue. And going round the outside. Getting a little bit loose there on the curbs, but able to control the movement of the bike whilst I'm at it. And I overtake round the outside. I very much have the race lead now as we head through the third tunnel. 2 seconds is now the interval. I'm also pretty sure I need to make no speed changes to the transmission while I think about it, because I'm pretty sure that will not be an issue. So 3.45 seconds is now the gap to the Yamaha. That's only going to get bigger as we go further and further along. And so far so good. As 5.15 seconds is now the gap to the Yamaha behind me. and now it is not. As I have fallen off for the first time. And probably not the last time either. Anyway. There we go. And so, here we go. And so, we will now get this finished. So heading through the kink now, and we still have 2 laps to go here at Trial Mountain. Gap is now 7.3 seconds, and I almost made the same mistake again, but able this time around at least to hold on. And we are doing okay. So the gap is now 8.3 seconds. And it looks like that gap is only going to increase as we go further and further along. So, 9.3 seconds is now the gap. I think we're probably going to be at least 12 seconds ahead by the time we get to the end of this race, is what me thinks. And 10.4 seconds is now the gap, so it's looking like we're going to win this race relatively easily. As long as I can stay in control of the bike and not ride on the curbs too much. And I do save it again through that long sweeping corner right before the tunnel. And now we head into the second tunnel right before the right-hander, and through the tunnel we go. So we have now a 12.3 second gap. So either the Yamaha is just going to make it to the line before the fade, or he's just going to miss out before the fade. Either way, it doesn't matter about the outcome because I will still win anyway. Because that is just how dominant I am. Domination, thy name is Jordan. On my Honda NS400R. Victory by 13.3 seconds over the Yamaha. those are your points after the Deuce race. And now we will move on to Race 3 at Special Stage, Route 5. But either way, let's go. So, time now for the final race of the Two-Stroke Legend Series. And this I think is going to be pretty easy. So, just going to have a sip of water before we continue. Okay, now let's go. For 5 laps around Special Stage Route 5. And where I think if these last few races have taught me anything, it's knowing about just how easy winning these other 3 races have been. And so we will do our best to get this series won and done, as the gap is only 4 seconds. So I think that pretty much tells me how likely the clean sweep is going to be. And in my opinion, I would say the clean sweep is very likely. Oh, and I got into the Armco. So heading through this little kink here, I think that's supposed to be an S-band, as we're now heading through this sweeping right-hander. And onto the start-finish straight now. I can guarantee I will hit the rev limiter. And my top speed is 146. I'm going to assume the Yamaha's top speed must be just a little faster than mine, but in all honesty, it's not going to affect the outcome because I clearly have the better car the better bike. This is going to keep happening, by the way, where I keep misinterpreting a bike for a car. I have the stronger bike compared to the AI. And this I am pretty sure will most likely be a clean sweep. So 1.6 seconds is the gap. And yep, I knew that was going to happen. But that's okay, because I pretty much have the best bike here, and that time around I get lucky. I also pulled off a little bit of a wheelie there as well, if you can believe it. It is also pretty cool to know that you can actually pull off wheelies. And apparently the wheelie is one thing I cannot pull off with this bike. Unfortunately. Well, at least I was prepared to try. Doesn't look like the wheelie is possible with this bike. Oh well, it's fine. I still feel like I'm going to get the clean sweep either way. because of just how far ahead I am of the Yamaha. Scoring the clean sweep in this, pretty much a cakewalk from what I can see. Okay. And I dragged the outside wall. Okay, just because I'm leading, that does not mean I can suddenly lose my God-given ability of working a controller and then basically just clamping the walls every time. It does not mean I get to do that, especially if it's concrete. But anyway, it's fair to say victory is more or less guaranteed here. I know how easy this championship has been. 8.3 seconds is the gap. And altogether, I'd say we're doing alright here. And on the brakes just a little bit there so I can make the corner. The gap is now 9.7 seconds. I would honestly say losing the lead here is virtually impossible. But either way, we go and move on. Can you feel the rhythm? Let's go, come on. Don't forget that I like you. We go, move on. I want to regain you. If you're asking what reference it was I made, well, it was a reference to a song by the Eurobeat artist Manuel. And in all honesty, it's a pretty good song at that, in my opinion. The song, by the way, is called Let's Go, Come On. And to those of you who are familiar with Initial D, you will probably know that song is from the Initial D 4th Stage soundtrack. Ironically, the 4th series had its episodes aired from 2004 to 2006. Anyway, I am leading big here at Special Stage Route 5. I am very much laid back here, and as I would have expected, no one is going to make it to the line before the points are shown, because I have just been that much better than everyone else. There we go, clean sweep of the two-stroke Legend Series. And the finishing order, as well as the starting order, except for me, remains unchanged. So those are your points for race 3, and a clean sweep for me and my Honda NS400R. Alrighty. So now we will save the replay and we will go and view what bike we won. Hard to believe this is now 46 episodes that I have made. Anyway, there we go. 46 episodes are now in the books. Don't need to worry about the best photo shot, because I prefer, of course, to get my own photo shots. Pretty cool to know they exist, but I prefer to do the shots under my own terms. So, we get more helmets, and for winning the series overall, we get the Buell Lightning City X XB9. That's cool. And we also get a pretty nice paint job as well. And do I want to change to the number 1? You know what? Yeah, why not? We only have, 3+ events to go now. And there is a reason why I say 3+ events. But there we go. We're number 1 in the Two-Stroke Legend series. And next up will be the Nostalgic Festival. And where I will have to make sure I diversify my choices. But anyway, Nostalgic Festival is up next, and that is another single race series. And then after that, we end off with 2 championships. So, let's go and check out our new bike that we won. So, heading down to Buell, and this is what we get. The Buell Lightning City X XB9 SX in Hero Blue, with the colour being Hero Blue Translucid. Yeah, Hero Blue Translucid is the colour. And I gotta say, it's a pretty cool colour at that, to put it simply. So, yeah. Nice. Okay. Now, I think I'm going to switch bikes for my next event because, well, since I've now used the NS 400, I want to make sure I'm diversifying my options here. And I think for the next one, I will use, once I can find it, here it is, the Honda CB 750F to open up the Nostalgic Festival, because why the hell not? So, upon completing this, we are now 89.1% complete, so I think altogether we gained a total of 2.8% of progress. Do correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it was 2.8% of progress that we gained. So those are our stats now, and we only have 3 events to go in the race events. So, next time on Tourist Trophy, Nostalgic Festival.